Good morning, dear students and my dear friends. I welcome you all for the very first session of system programming. So, this is a very important and the core subject for your third year information technology course, and the subject is known as system programming. So today I would like to introduce to you the subject, and we shall start with the unit 1 of system programming. So system programming, it is the core subject, and the prerequisite for this subject is the data structures that we have already studied, a theory of computation, because here we also use the various machine design concepts and the regular language and expressions and grammar to learn the subject. So with this, let us start with the unit 1, introduction to system programming. For today's agenda for the session is introduction to system programming. Then we will see introduction to system software, and then we shall have a small quiz for you to understand what are the different, just a revision for. So before we start with the session, let us first understand what are the course outcome for this particular unit. So dear friends, after learning this particular unit 1 of system programming, you will be able to analyze and synthesize various system software and understand the design of two-pass assembler. So this is the outcome. So we are going to go through various system softwares in this unit, and not only that, we are going to actually design the two-pass assembler. So you should be in the position to analyze and synthesize the process of design of assembler. Let us start with the introduction to system programming. I hope that the screen is visible to you. So now first we understand what is system. We are going to learn the subject system programming. So if we break out the word system programming into two words, that is system and programming. So what do you understand by system? System is nothing but a collection of various components, right? So friends, we have so many different systems. Like our computer itself is a system which is made up of so many components, like translators, compilers, interpreters, linkers, software, hardware, peripheral devices, and so forth. So there are so many components which make up the system. Here another example, our college is a system. College is a system because it consists of various components, different departments, different classroom, faculties, students, library, books, and so many different courses. So all this forms a system, right? So I hope that you understand what do we mean by a system. Now let us see what is programming. Programming is nothing but art of designing and implementing the program, right? So in programming you design, you code, you implement, right? So programming is all about designing and implementing. Next, in the college system, so with this example of our college, what do you mean by program over here? So we can say that a lecture can be a program because it has input and output. So what are the input for the lecture? The information that the teacher is delivering, that becomes the input for your program, right? So the program is what? A lecture. So input is what? The information that the teacher is delivering. And what is the output? The knowledge that the student has been received, that becomes the output. So now let us come to a proper definition. A simple definition for system programming is: system programming is an art of designing and implementing system program. Now, dear friends, please understand this. It is the art of designing. So, what do you mean by design over here? Design means for in our IT department, while learning various subjects or the programming, we have one phase of designing. Designing in terms of algorithm, flow charts, or we can say block diagrams, showing the various components. So this forms the designing. And what do you mean by implementing? Friends, implementing means we need to convert it, whatever is our code, into some programming languages of your choice, so that we get the desired output by executing that particular program. That thing is called as implementing. Okay, so the system programming is art of designing and implementing the system program, right friends? Now let us come to the second important definition. What is software? So let us understand what are the different types of softwares here. So software is a collection of many programs. Now by programs I mean all different type of programs that we are using day-to-day basis on our system. Like we have ERP, like you are using email is also kind of program or a software. We use so many different softwares like calculator, Excel, MS Word. All these are the various programs. We can say program is nothing but a set of instructions that we give to the system to perform some particular task, right? So now there are different type of softwares that we have. The two types are system software and application software. So you must all be knowing about these terms very well, because this is all the basics. System software, as you all know, these program assist the general user application program. Assistance, they provide you with some functionality, some facility, some resources to carry out application, or to carry out the task that the user wants. So they support by providing various resources or some background programs. One of the best example of system software is your operating system, who provides all the who works in the background and provides all the necessary things like memory, files, manages the resources, make available all the system or the compilers or the programs which are running in the background, which are required by the user, but user do not have to care for all that background processing. It is all taken care by operating system. User simply uses their own programming language to design or write a code. So all the system software provide a backend to the user by giving them the assistance for all the necessary functions and the resources required for their program execution. And when we come to the application software, there are ample of application softwares that we are using on our computer system. So the softwares that are developed for specific goal. For example, we have media player, we have Adobe Reader, then we have so many different mobile applications, so many different web applications, and there are so many different applications, as I told you, like email, all MS Team, on which I am conducting this session. All these are nothing but the application software. Even a simple calculator that we are using on our system is a application software, right? So all the softwares, we can say, it is nothing but it is a collection of various programs, right dear friends? So I hope that the softwares are clear to you and the types of softwares are also clear to you. Now, to define the system program, these are the programs which are required for effective execution of general user program on the computer system, right? So, it general user program means any kind of user program that are to be executed on the computer system. And system programming, as you all know, it is an art of designing and implementing the system program, right? So with this introduction and the basic definition about system programming and understanding of what is system, what is program, what is software, let us now move on to our syllabus content for unit 1. So unit 1, we have components of system software. We are going to learn various system software like text editor, loader, assembler, microprocessor, compiler, debugger, machine structure. Then we have machine language, and we are going to study in detail the assembly language, the design of assembler, the design of two-pass assembler, and general design procedure. So these are the contents of our system programming unit 1. So let us start with our different type of system softwares. So text editor is one of the very commonly used system software. So Notepad is a very common example of a text editor. Nowadays we have various text editors depending upon the different platforms and the operating system, right? So Notepad is the most common that every person uses on the computer system. So let us consider that, and it is a very simple because it can edit the text, whereas Microsoft Word, here you can not only edit the text but also you can use tables, pictures and other media features. But text editor is a simple editor to edit the text, where you can simply cut, copy, paste, change the font, make it bold or italic. Few functionalities are provided. So editor is a computer program that allows the user to create and revise a document. So you can create a new document and you can carry out some basic functionality related to editing of the text document. The text editor is a program in which the primary elements being edited are characters. So as I told you, here you are only using the text and no other media components. The text editor is a type of program used for editing plain text files of the extension .txt. Right, friends? So we are aware about this, and we also know that we are using text editor to write the program. For C program, Java program, we write our code in a text editor, then compile using the C compiler or the Java compiler, right? So any program, now this is the system program, but while processing or executing, each and every program is converted. It goes through a compiler or an assembler, and it is converted to a low level machine language where the actual execution takes place, right? So you see, dear friends, system software are required right from typing the program to execution and to conversion of the program into machine level to execution of the program, right? So we will see some more components of the system softwares now. Next is the loader. So what is loader? You must have heard about the loader as well. So loader basically is a program that takes the object code as an input and prepares them for the execution, right? So in the first phase, what happens is we have some compiler. Okay, we have some assembler which takes a program written in certain programming language and convert it into the object code. Next, what happens, the object code is taken by the loader and it converts in such a form that is the machine level, where and it loads the program into the memory for to make keep it ready for the execution by your CPU, right? So it is from here the execution process starts, because we need to load the program in your main memory for the CPU to execute the program. So loading the a program into the memory, allocation of the memory is the main function of the loader. You can see here we have four functions that the loader carry out. So friends, allocation of memory is one of the function. Linking. What do you understand by linking? Suppose, dear friends, you are using some linking program or some third party libraries in your program, right? So we need to make a call to those libraries. So we need to make a linking to those library functions that you have included in your program, right? So for that, linking is used. The next function of loader is relocation, and fourth is loading. Relocation means what? Sometimes some data may be in some register or in some secondary memory location, so you need to bring up that particular information into your main memory for execution, right? So all these are the four major functions of loader. What are the allocation, linking, relocation and loading, right? So each and every function again is explained here in detail. Loader allocates space for program in main memory. In linking, we have different modules of our program, and the loader links the object module with each other. Also, it links the various library functions that we are using in our program, right? And relocation means we need to adjust all the address dependent locations, right? For example, we have two programs, program A and program B. So in program A is saved at some particular location. For example, the address is 100 and the user wants to save the program B on the same location. That is physically not possible. So the loader relocates the program B to some another free location. So this relocation, allocation and adjustment of the address dependent variables is carried out by loader. And finally, physical loading the machine instruction and the data into the main memory for the execution. Okay, so the both the instruction and the data required for execution of the instruction is to be loaded in the main memory for the execution by the CPU, and this is done by your loader, right friends? The next type of system software that we are going to see here is the assembler. Assembler is a translator which translates the assembly language program into the machine language. So we can say it is a type of translator, right? So for execution of the program, any program, as you all know, has to be converted into low level or the machine level language. An assembler will take the input, the source program in written in assembly language, and convert it into the machine language. That is the purpose of the assembler, right? So this is one of the system software. So we have seen till now various system softwares like text editor, compiler, loader, assembler. The next is the microprocessor. Macro allows a sequence of source language code to be defined once and then referred many times. What happens? There is some a sequence of code which is repeated again and again or executed multiple times. If there is such a set of line of code which has to be which is called multiple times, then we write that set of program into the macro. So this is the syntax where we define a macro using a macro keyword. We have a name for that particular macro, and those statements of instruction which are to be repeated are written in the macro body, and then we end the macro by end. So this indicates the end of the macro. So this is called as macro. A macro processor takes a source with macro definition and macro calls and replaces each macro call with its body. So whenever we make a call to the macro, that particular macro body is executed, right? So this is about the various system softwares. Compiler is another system software which is a translator which converts the high level language into low level language. So what are the benefits of writing a program in high level language? You know that it is easy to understand. It is easier for the user to write a program in high level language as compared to the machine language. It increases the productivity, right? Because it is easy to write. And secondly, it is machine independent. So you can write on the program in a high level language, and you can execute in any type of platform or the machine. Debugging tool helps the programmer for testing and debugging the program. It provides some facilities like you can set breakpoints, you can display values of the variable. Dear friends, you are using so many different kind of uh, editors or platforms to write your program. For example, if you're writing program in C or C++, and when you execute the program, if you have any errors and some block of the program is not executing, what you do, you go to debugging. So you can also select a fix set of code where you which you need to debug for the various values, and that you can do by setting the breakpoints, and you can find out what are the values for those particular variable in that particular block of code. So this is how debugging tool helps you to debug or to find out what is the bug in that particular block of code. So we say debugging, that is the process to find out the bug or the error in the given block of code. And for that you can have breakpoints and check the values in the variables.